Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream. We are live, and we are doing a live stream all about my latest game, Mimic, a game which I've shared quite a lot of already on the channel, but we do sometimes these regular little live streams detailing the progress of what's been developed on the game, answer some questions about how some things were made in the game, and give you just general updates on what's going on. So, first of all, hello everyone in chat. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited for everyone to play it too. Oh, probably. Excuse me. I've had like 3 hours sleep. It's just been a long day. I'm exhausted. So what have we been working on? So a lot of work over the past couple of weeks has gone on to optimization. So the game now runs at a pretty solid 60 FPS on my computer, no problem. Went through and optimized that greatly and really got that down. Yeah, which is great. And also I've been working on the proximity chat for the game too. And yeah, we're about to go into testing for it. So it's not that we're not going to test it tonight because it takes a bit more work to set up because we need to test it with like, multiple people. But it's in there, okay? And yeah, that's it. That's what we've been working on. So one interesting thing we're going to try and do with proximity chat as well is a bit of a difference compared to other games. Is we're introducing this. I'm going to try and introduce this new mechanic where yes, you have a proximity chat with all the other players in the room. However, if you're the monster, when you talk in your microphone, we're going to make it so that other players don't hear you. They hear a translation. So the alien is going to make monster alien noises as you talk. And we're going to mix it based upon the volume that you are talking. So, for example, if you're the mimic alien walking around the halls, if you talk into your microphone, like with a whisper, the alien creature would be like a very subtle, like clicking, monstery noise. But if you were to scream and shout into the microphone, it'll turn into a screech that's like scary horror type screech for the monster there too. And so players can have some fun with that and teasing their friends and stalking their friends, making some horrible little noises in the game, which I thought might be an interesting thing to put in there. One thing I wanted to have a look at was a double check on is our actor here we're using for the alarm light. I just want to double check that his attenuation isn't too bad. No, it's not too bad. Okay. Yeah, so I thought that'd be an interesting sort of mechanic, a twist on the proxy chat system. Yeah. So you can, like, if you go around whispering, like, I see you, it'll go like noises. But if you obviously scream at someone, they're going to pop out and go, and make horrible noises. Yeah. Okay, so what's left to do on this game? So beyond just improvements to the levels and arts and things like that in the game, there's the event system we need to finish working on, more menu stuff we need to finish working on, achievements, basically all the stuff that's around the edges of the game itself that we need to work on. Let me show how we're doing menus at the moment. Menu map. Are these store assets or did you make them yourself? The majority of what you're seeing are store assets, but been edited in some kind of way. Mostly like texture work and or modeling modes been used to tear apart and things like that. But mostly assets are from the store. The only ones that really are unique are some of the animations, especially for like the execution and kills and things like that. So yeah, log in. So, do you have key binding in your menu? Yes. You go to controls, and you can. It's not. I haven't finished putting it together yet, but you can put the key binds for the keyboard over here on the left, and then the right will be your button. So you use item, you hit the button, and then you hit the next key. And it changes it to E, for example. Yeah. Change sensitivity, and things like that. some video settings where you can change the quality of the game, gamma. You can change like how dark or bright the screen's going to be. Anti-aliasing method, what we can do with that, all those sort of things. So yeah, we've got video, sound settings, volume mixers, controls, accessibility. So subtitle on and off, icon color, so you can change the color of some icons. Hints whether you want them on or off, and then HUD scale as well. On good tutorials, I haven't got any tutorials yet on the key bindings, but I'll do a video at some point explaining how we're doing it on here. So yeah, and that's the menu we've got here. Now the thing about this menu as well, there's a hidden thing in it with the event system. So the whole concept of the game is that there are rule sets that you can tweak and change to customize the gameplay, and we'll be running events on a bi-weekly basis, so you'll be able to play some of these like customized rule sets. But we haven't actually got a menu yet to mess about with that. So to show you where that would be, if we go log in, so it logs into Epic Games account, matchmaking, can't find one, so make a new one. So yeah, you can hit a proxy chat coming through. So the rule set button here is where you'll click on this, and it'll give you the ability to change the rules. This is, yeah, we're not going to play that. How many gigabytes is the project? I think the total is about 200 odd gigabytes. Packaged is like 8. Let's have a look. Yeah, just in case there's anything sensitive. I think last time I looked at it was about 200 gigabytes. Yeah. But that rule set menu. So the rule set menu is UI, menus, and where are you? Settings? No. Lobby. And rule sets. Okay, so go to rule sets. Now I've been debating on how this would be presented and how it would look to the game. So I don't want it to just be a long list of things, but there's not much else we can really do. Besides, I'm thinking of maybe having some sort of like button click instead. So I'm going to drink from my stupidly large bottle. No, it decreases when you package, because when you package, it only takes what you actually are using. Yeah, so it's just under 300 gigabytes, the project file. And it goes down to like 8 when you package it. 8 or 9, something like that. When you record gameplay for the trailer, do you just play the game on the engine and use OBS, or is there a better way to do it? Yep, just use OBS. So I've also built into the game some like spectator camera stuff, so I can film a UI less and smooth camera movement flying around stuff too. So I can do all that in there. Yeah. Gel, yeah, we'll probably do some tutorials later on about how all the connection stuff works in this. Once we've got it nailed down, obviously we've been experimenting with different ways of doing it to make it work nicer. But yeah, down the line, yeah, there'll be stuff about that. Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's things called events. So if I go to the events page, the event window looks something like this when you click on it, when it opens up. And it's going to show what rule sets are part of the event. Now, at the moment, there's a disconnect because... Oh, come on, are you open up? The disconnect is there because of this current menu for the rule sets, which is the sliders and tick boxes. And then the presentation of the event is done by icons, almost like buffs and debuffs. And so I'm thinking of making it so this is also icons that you click on to enable, disable, change, things like that. Rather than sliders and different settings like that, we got these icons. Now, the reason why I'm thinking of doing that is the player gets familiarity with the rule sets and the icons for those rule sets. So when they see the event, they can, at a faster glance, see what's unique about it. Only use what's in the level files, yeah, because it's done by the reference viewer. The game will cost, currently it's going to be about $14.99, but obviously we'll go in all the sales and things like that. Why won't this open? Come on. Yeah, so about $14.99, and then obviously there'll be a launch discount, and there'll be obviously in the sales and things as they come and go. Oh my god, why is this not opening? Well, you can see down there, see that little event modifier, this picture here, that's the icon. There you go, stay now. So the event opens like this, and it has like a graphic for the event, which should be like an image that we've made. And then here are the icons at the bottom, and these will show what are the rule sets currently in place for the event. And that's when you can find a match or close the window and return them. Release date, I was aiming for early access release for this autumn, this fall, so September-ish time. I don't know if we'll hit that, we'll see. I don't want to put it out too early, even though it's early access, I don't want to put it out too early. I still want it to be a good time to play while we're in early access. Okay, so rule sets for lobby stuff. So I'm going to change this to the icons. So let me go to the folder for the rule sets, and we're going to make a new folder here for rule sets window. And we're going to create a new user widget. Rule set window. Your project's 1.2 gigabytes in Explorer with around 40 levels. Yeah, it'll take up less space than that, yeah. I'm surprised that your project only is 1.2 gigabytes in Explorer, though. Okay, so the rule set window. So this, I'm still going to keep like the window event sort of motif. I'm still going to keep that same language, but with a few subtle differences. So I'm going to copy some of this stuff actually. So copy the CAD panel, the background, the size box, and the border. And that'll do. Copy that. Rule set window, and we're going to paste that into there. Let's copy the whole lot. Yeah, see, that's the sort of image you get. But let's take out all the junk we don't want. We don't want any of this. Oh. Oh, whoops, no, it's not that one. It's delete that. Okay, so we've got this box thing at the top still. I'm going to close that. Okay, so it's going to be a tab. So if we're going to categorize them slightly differently so people can... Actually, let's see what happens. We'll do different rule sets. And I'm thinking let's do a data asset as a rule set. So blueprint class, primary data asset, DA rule, and we can put in basic information about the rule. Okay, variables. Oh, by the way. Okay, so we got the rule name, so text, description, icon, and that'd be a texture 2D. What else? They're the basics. What else do we need? So I guess we want to number of settings it has. So when I click on it, I can change it to off and on. So 2 settings, off or on. Or if I've got multiple, I can go through the values out of it. So I go values, and we'll store this as a float. Do float as an array. Okay. So, for example, one rule we have, I can go to data asset, and we go to DA rule, and we'll do rule Android speed. So this is the speed that the Android walks at. So Android speed, the walk speed of the Android in the Icarus map. And the values here, we're going to go from, not 0, but we'll go from 400, 600, 800. Okay, so you've got 3 settings you can click between. We also need a default. So we go back to the DA rule, and we'll say default index. Default index. Sure. Okay, so default rule for my Android speed. I'm going to go look at my Android actor and look at what speed they've got. Do you find widgets fun when you understand how it works? Yeah, I don't mind doing widgets. I quite enjoy it. Oh, it just crashed. Why did it crash? Let's have a look. Just struggled to get. Okay, it doesn't look like it's anything I did. It looks like it's just an editor thing. Right, let's just restart. We've also been planning a series of videos regarding Mimic 2. So there's going to be a series called Mimic Road to Release, which is going to detail, not just details about like what the game is and how it plays and some of the features of the game, but also talk a bit about the journey from getting the game from a project into a release. So what's it? So going through pitch preparation, talking to publishers about it, talking to marketing about it, talking to investors, thinking about how to do all that stuff. So it's all those elements that we're going to also encourage and talk about, like shows, what it's like to do a show with the game, and the things we have to encourage, think about with showing the game off. So you're going to see sort of behind the scenes, sort of documentary style of what the game has been going through, as well as learning a bit more about some of the game's unique features and make it stand out in the social deductions genre. I'll just finish waiting for this to load up. Yep, that's right, design done. Just wait for it to come back up. At some point, I'm going to have to make a load of icons as well for the rule sets. I don't know how to make these. Like, we could make them with the current theme of the images is at the moment just white, like minimalistic white. But I kind of want to thinking of adding some color to it. So possibly like white, but with a white icon, but then a colored square that it's on. I don't know. Something to think about. Have you done any cinematics for the game? No. For the sole reason that cinematics are costly to make in terms of resources. So I can either spend 4 months working on a cinematic, or I can spend 4 months on working on a game. Maybe it's just me working on this. If I had a team of people, it'd be great. But I don't. Right, let's go. Yeah, see, here's the events. Hang on, let's go back to lobby, rule sets, DA rule. If you're running 60 FPS the engine, does that mean when you package it, it will run better? Yes. The editor always has some overhead on it, so when it's packaged, it will run better. So, like, the game doesn't run 60 FPS in the editor in this case, but it does run 60 FPS in the actual packaged build. Would you know how to make a Devil May Cry game? Yeah, I think so. What's your inspirations for the game? So the game was originally inspired by the idea of trying to do a game based upon the horror game, The Thing, a horror film, The Thing. Because I wanted to make a horror game. I've never made one before, so I wanted to try and do something. And so I looked at like The Thing, and I like social deduction stuff. I think it's a fun gimmick to put into a game. And so I wanted to try and do my own sort of take on that. And as I was developing it, it came like very clear that what we wanted to try and do was do like an Among Us meets Alien Isolation type-esque game. And so it just kind of evolved from that. And it's although it started off as being like an Among Us clone, but with scary graphics, it's now evolved to be something much more than that. It's definitely its own thing now, which is good. So, yeah, so we're going to have the indexes, 400, 600, 800, and then a default one of whatever one we find. So let's just go to our Android character, because I can't remember his walk speed. So let's have a look. So I'm going to go down to his character movement, and his max walk speed is 350. So we'll go to 350 is 0. We'll do 450, 550, and I'll do 650. And default value of 0. Yeah, so the index 0 will be the default value. So that is like how we're going to do it with a clickable one. So click on it multiple times to cycle through all that. But let's talk about maybe a Boolean version. So, menus, lobby, all sets. So let's make another one. So alongside that, there's also Android rage mode. So when you enable rage, he'll sprint at you if he sees you. So we'll do rage. And when discovered by the Android, he will enrage and sprint after you. And rather than values, it's going to be off or on. So in that case, our two values are going to be 0 and 1. Default value of 0. So it's off. With Booleans, when transferred to floats, equals 0 or 1. Off or on. So I'm thinking this might be the best way of doing the rule sets. I don't know how it'll work. We'll in the end, we'll see. But this is what I'm going to go with. Now, for some testing purposes, we need some icons to be able to see what the hell we're doing. So let's bring in some default placeholder icons I can use in here. So let me go into there. Let me find some. Okay, I'm just gonna. If I just put them in the UI folder, at least I'll know they're here. Hold on. Icons and new folder. Rule set icons. Open it up. So we got these ones. So these are just generic RPG-like ones, but they'll do for now. They're kind of close to what I'm thinking I want to try and do with it. In having like a standard color, but then the background be the actual main color. So just put that in there. Just bring them all in. And these will do for at least placeholder for now, even if we don't use them. It's a starting point. Okay. Game design is like basically having 10 ideas, narrow it down to 2, right? And removing anything that's superfluous. Yes. So I have a game design document that I wrote up and following, and it's a live document. So as you're developing things, you may find that you are cutting things out, changing them, whatever it may be. And it's just a like matter of trying to find out what you want to stick with and what you don't want to stick with. I've done some videos in the past about game design theory, about how do you actually determine what ideas you should stick with. We'll do something more dedicated towards game design stuff in the future, and the importance of doing something like a game design doc and coming up with your sort of ideals for the game. Okay, so I'm just going to dock this in the view here. So I'm going to just put this on the other monitor just to help myself look at it in bigger thing. But let's go into our UI folder, menus, lobby, rule set window, Android Rage. So let's find one that's like rage inducing ish. So I'm thinking like maybe a red one, possibly you'll find in here. Maybe this skull thing. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll just put that skull thing in there. And there's our rage. Go to Android speed. So now I want to find something to do with speed and the Android. So let's look around, see what we got. Nothing really great. There you go, that one, that'll do. So I probably have to make my own. Well, I think I'm definitely going to have to make my own. Okay, so we've got things like that. So now let's put some of these in what will be the actual individual rules and rule sets. So I'll just realise we've just lost our main widget. Okay. So we're going to do W, rule set window, and open this up. So I'm just going to take, where is it? Yep. So as we did before the crash, I'm just going to go back and take the existing one, or the event system, not the existing one, the event system. So events, event window. And I'm going to take the basics of that stuff and bring it across. So where are you? There you are. So I'm just going to copy this and paste that in here. And so on the home screen, this is what that looks like. So I'm just going to get rid of the main content. We don't want any of that. Yeah. Okay, compile, save. I'm going to actually save all in case we crash again. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Hit Dan, yeah. So, are you going to wait for a good amount of wish list, or do you already have a good amount? We're going to wait for a bit more. We currently got about over 2,000 wish lists. So, it's not too bad, but we're expecting to get more out as soon as we start releasing gameplay footage. Like if people actually playing the game, I'll be playing on stream, we'll get other people playing on stream, we'll get streamers playing it on stream, and we expect it to probably go a lot up, shoot up right there. That's what we imagine. Okay, so alongside our UI for that, oh no, lobby rule set window. We also need the individual rule set slot. So for that, I'm actually going to copy the one we've actually already got. Hold on. In events, this one. So I'm just going to duplicate that and bring that across to rule set window. Okay, so this is be the rule set. So we're going to make this one have a rule set or rule. I better rename it to rule. Keep consistent. DA rule, and make that editable and exposed on spawn. And then on the event pre-construct, I'm going to take out my rule, and then take the icon, set texture from brush, or set brush from texture rather, and then from the rule, I can get the icon. And now we get that. So now I just want to go to my rule, give it a default one, Android Rage, for example, and get an idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm going to get rid of the border stuff. So border, I've got some padding. We're going to get rid of the padding there. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of the border. I'm just going to replace the border here. Actually, no, I still want the border because I want to highlight it. Okay, we're just going to go to the padding and change that down to like 10. Something like that, I guess. 15. Do 20, like that. Because I can make the border hidden and not hidden when we're selecting it. Well, yeah, there we go. Okay. Now this one's going to be a button, so we can click on it. So I'm going to right click on the size box, wrap with a button. And I'm going to get rid of all the padding. That. That padding. And the border for the background for the color, we're going to go to make it invisible. Okay. Thank you, Crazy. Thank you. Obviously, if you're watching this and have yet to wishlist Mimic, please go ahead and wishlist it. It really does help a massive amount. Every publisher you ever talk to will always ask you how you're doing for wishlists. And so if we've got more, the more chance we have. So please, please, please do. Okay. So we need to demonstrate when this is off or on. So I'm thinking we need some kind of like text or something, or image or something at the bottom, maybe a text, to showcase at the border bottom here about whether the setting is off or on. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll do on our border here, image, we'll wrap that with an overlay, and then I'm going to put a border in, and this border is going to be at the bottom center, and I'm going to change the draw as to rounded box, change the brush color here to black, and then put in some text in here. And give the text some padding on The left, we'll give padding of like 20. On the right, padding 20. And the font size will go down to like 10. Okay, so you don't know if you see that, but it's like you've got the rounded edge border here. Let's just offset the border of that. So padding on the overlay slot, bottom here, do 20. Yeah, something like that. And we'll just change this text. We'll change the font to our font we use for the game, which is Orbitron. This will say like off or on or whatever. You know, we'll do that. So we might actually fill horizontally, and then the text in the middle will center adjust. And this border, I'm going to add padding on the outside of it. So let's do that. Padding on the left, we'll do 30. Padding on the right, 30. Okay, so as I click on this button, it's we want it to change that text to be off or on, or change it to a value when we click on it. Whatever it may be. Thank you, Dowd. Thank you. Okay, so when we make any sort of widget, I always will block it out like this with like just placeholder stuff to begin with. And then I'll go through, okay, well, what things are going to change in here? So first of all, this text is going to change. So is variable and text value, value, we'll call it. The icon is going to change. So is variable image icon. Good. The outside border with the highlight, we're going to change that too. So I'm going to go to the border here is variable box, we'll call it, and selection. And that might just do it. Yeah, okay. Can you use splines for a trigger, like if you want an object like a rock or something to fall before the player instead of using sequences, which I've seen using for a level I'm working on? Can you use splines to trigger, like if you want an object like a rock or something to fall? Oh, you're talking about level sequences? No, yeah, you use level sequences to basically cut scenes, but without the cutting part. Okay, so we got the rule set. Not rule, what's it called? Event modifier. We'll just change that to be W rule option. There you go. There we go. And this wants to go inside of a grid of some kind over here. So I'm just going to drag this into my vertical box. And we'll put that above, obviously, the close and the find match. And we'll wrap that with a grid. I'm going to do a uniform grid panel because they're all going to be the same sort of size. So I'm going to do grid panel, rule option, go into that. And I'm just going to place a bunch of these in here to get an idea. Hang on. 1, 2, yeah. There you go. To get an idea of what it's going to look like, okay? So I get that in there. Uniform grid panel, just going to fill the available space. That pushes all that down. I'm going to wrap it as well with a scroll box so we can scroll if we want. Scroll box. Like that. Thank you for becoming a new member, Alpha Lamb. Much appreciated. Okay, so we got a rough idea then of how this is going to work. And we later on make filters and things and buttons. But I think right now I just want to make it just so it appears on the screen. Now, each one of these does have a description about what it is. And so as we're hovering over it, we want some text somewhere to display what it is that we're actually hovering over. So I'm thinking maybe put it at the top. So we'll do text and we'll put that in here. Put that at the top. Give it some padding. and change the font. This would be rule name. Yeah, we'll make that bold. And change it down to 20. And then alongside that, we're going to change the padding of that to be 2. Actually, no, 20 still, but I'm going to take out the top. There you go. And this one we'll change the size down to 12, I guess, and back to default. So that's going to be the description of the rule that we are selecting as we hover over it. So as I hover over it, I wanted to change these things. So once again, I'm going to go in here and just select these things and rename them, make them variable. So text, name, text, description. Okay. Right, and I want these guys to give me the option to hover over them and output back what rule that we are hovering over. So let's go to the rule options, and on the button, which I'm going to actually name as well, and down there on the right hand side, you can scroll down and go to event on hovered, and I'm just going to report back a binding. So I'm going to do on hover is hovered, and I'm using it for both hovered and unhovered just to save me doing it multiple times. It is hovered over, and compile that, and I can call is hovered and turn that on. And then for unhovered, we'll do button again, do the exact same call, but we'll just turn that off. So rather than having 2 event dispatches, I just have 1. So save me stuff. Okay, so that's that bit. We also want it to output what slot it's over, that it's hovering over. So on that event dispatcher, add another input, and that'd be the slot for rule option. And we'll do rule slot. Compile, probably have to refresh these ones, yep. Refresh. And that'd be self, each one of these. Hi, End Gaming, how you doing? Okay, so we got that in there. And on the rule set window, we're going to make each of these sort of report back and then change the rule name and rule description as it sees fit in here. So if I go on the rule set window, because I want these to build dynamically. So I want to actually, do I want to build dynamically? Okay, so I'm gonna bind it dynamically. I'm not gonna build it dynamically. I'm gonna bind it dynamically. So in uniform grid panel, that needs to be variable because I need to access it and do stuff with it. We'll just call it grid. And on the construct, we'll take the grid out. We're gonna get children, and we get all the children for each loop. And for this, we need to get the binding. And so this doesn't know what we've got it attached to. So what I'm going to do is, oh, actually, no, I'll just build it dynamically. That might be nicer. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. We'll go to variables, rules. And this would be an array of those data structures. So DA, or data assets. The DA rule array. Editable. So now in pre-construct, I'm going to take the rules out, do a for each. And for each one, we're going to spawn, or not spawn, so create my widget. Going to choose the rule option. And as you can see, it's going to ask for the rule. So for that, will come from the array element. And then when it's made, I want to add it to my uniform grid. So take the grid out. I'm going to do add child to uniform grid. Okay. Actually, what might be a nicer way of doing it is rather than using uniform grid, is using a wrap box. Let me just change that. So I'm going to right click on grid, replace with a wrap box. There you go. Wrap box will kind of just, so when it reaches the end of the line, just go to the next one. That's all it does. So let's go back to the grid there. And padding. Okay, cool. Okay, so that should be all fine. I'm going to take out all the ones I've placed in there manually. Is variable. Okay, so when I create the widget, I'm going to drag out my grid, add child to wrap box. I'm going to add that there. And then we want to create the binding. So bind event to on is hovered. And then I'm going to create event. Create matching event. And we'll do slot hovered is the event. But we know whether we actually are hovering the slot and what the rule slot actually is. So we only want to do this if this is true. And we want to take the rule slot here, get the name. No, what do I call it? Rule slot, hang on. Name, I did call it name. Oh, I have to get the rule, that's the rule slot. Get rule, and then get the name. There we go. Yeah, so I just need to change the name text on here. So that's variable. Description here, we'll make that variable too. And we'll take those out. Set text. Something that helps people out with understanding some stuff in widgets and generally all blueprints. But in the details panel, if you see it in the details panel, it means you can change it also in blueprint for the most of the time. That's what it means. So yeah, if you want to know, oh, how do I know what I have to do to change the text here? Just search for that thing there, set, and then that text. If you want to change the size, I go set size, set padding, you know, things like that. So text description now. Set text. Description. Okay, so we've got a dynamic building system now. So it's going to build the slots for me, set the bindings up, and then the bindings are going to react to being hovered and unhovered. So, on the designer front, I'm going to go click on the root of my rule set window. And on the right hand side, you'll see rules. I can now add the rules I want to use. So I'm going to use Android Rage and Android Speed. Now it's going to look kind of weird at the moment, but if I hit compile, that should fix that and just give us the two we have. Thank you for signing up to be a member, Dream Apostle. Dante, the event tick, it all depends on what you're doing with it. Because event tick, in most cases, it's running no matter what. It's doing stuff. It all depends on what you're doing with it. If you're doing expensive stuff with it, then obviously, yeah, it's going to cause some issues. So, it depends. It has its uses. Okay, now there's a slot there. Okay, so now we need to make our slots here cycle when I click on them. So we're going to go rule option, and we're going to do button slot on clicked. So when it has been clicked, we need to take the rule and get the values. Okay. And we need to cycle through those values via this index. In this index here, we're going to promote to a variable. Call it index. And I want to set at start this index to be the default value from the rule. So let's go to the event construct. And we get default value, default index get. And we're going to set that over here to the index. So it starts off where it should do. That's the first thing. The next thing is when I click on it, I need to make that value increment and change. So on clicked here, I need to get the index value and increase it by 1. However, if it reaches the end of the list, I want it then to go back to the start. So on the index here, we want to get the values from the rule. And we can do is valid index. Plug that in. And this is fine because this add 1 to this index is not fixed. It's not saving it back into the index variable. It's only temporary. So temporarily, increase it by 1. Is it valid? And then we do a select node. Select int. And that's going to mean if it's true and it is valid, we're going to pick A. So A will be the new value that we have calculated. If I want it to go back to the beginning, I'll change it to be B. And then the final value gets set back into index. Okay. And then we get the rule, get the values, get the index, and then we can change the text on the value. So text, set text. And put that in like so. Okay. Hi Iron Thumbs, how you doing? JB, how do I add a video to play when an item is hovered? So you can drag in video files and use them. And it's just a video file onto a texture that you can bring in. I think there's even a widget for it, maybe. Video? No, might be in a common UI. But, yeah, so, oh no, I've got common UI, I don't know. But you can render it to a texture and then put the texture onto a screen. Yeah, that's all it is. But I'll have to make an actual video on how to do that. But it can be done because I did it for a project a few years ago. Yeah, so it's going to increase the value and output the value. However, for the most part, that's fine. However, in this case, we've got on or off based upon that value. So this is going to be true or false. I need to know whether it's going to be Boolean or not. So when I do the values, I'm going to calculate whether or not it should be Boolean. And I think for the most part, it will only ever be Boolean or tap, 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 tap. I don't think it'll be anything unique. So we'll just do that. So we'll go rule values, length, and I'm going to put this into a function. Is a Boolean. And what that's going to do is that if this is equal to 2, so off or on, true or false, then that's going to return is a Boolean like that. If it's not equal to 2, meaning that it's 0, 1, or has multiple entries, then it's going to return false, meaning it's not a Boolean. And I'm going to make this actually pure. And the reason why is because over here, that then makes it like this. I won't go through the technical mumbo jumbo that why this sometimes is better. But in this case, it would work well because I go down to my values down here for is a Boolean. And the text here is going to change from a float to a Boolean in that case. So let's take is a Boolean. No, what are we going to do? I want to say to text Boolean, like that, and I want to do select, and the condition for that is a Boolean. No, it's not gonna work, is it? No, what we're gonna do? To bool. No, I can't do that. Okay, we'll just do it down here then, like this. Select. And we'll do is a Boolean in there. If it's false, it'll be this one. If it's true, then it's going to determine whether or not this is true or false based upon its value. So if it's equal to, I mean, I can't think of another way of doing it, so I'm going to do this. We're going to go, if it's equal to 1, we're going to go here to select. If it's equal to 1, that means that'll be true, and then that'll be on. Else, it'll be false, off. Okay, hopefully that works. Okay, so when I click on it, we should see those... Oh, wait, no, hold on. Not fully. So when I do click on it, it's going to change the text value. Yeah, that should be fine. Save that. And close that. Okay, so let's now test to see if this is working. So at the moment, I'm in my dev world. This is where I develop a lot of the game, testing ideas. We'll see. So what I'm going to do is make it just spawn in that HUD straight away, so I don't have to mess about. So I'm going to go to level blueprint and just do it. Create widget. And that'll be all set window. And then add to viewport. And I'm just going to change the view mode and things like that. Get input mode, get player controller, sorry. Get player controller. Set input mode to UI only in this case. And then set show mouse cursor to true. So we're just going to test out whether or not the values change as I click on them, and also the text value changes at the top of the widget. And it's getting overridden by the other HUD stuff. Hold on. Let me. Okay, I won't do it there. I said I'll do it on the player character. And when I push the button, I'll make it pop up. Okay, characters, crew, main character. And oh, 2 vector, 2 key, debug key 2, and we'll just put that in there. Okay. Cena, good question. Hold on, let me just check this first. Okay, so the icons got lost, but if I click on this, that cycles between off and on just fine, and that cycles between those values just fine. And as you can see here, this is changing too. Very nice. But the icon's gone, so let's figure out what's going on there. So far in development of Mick, what is the best advice you'd give to yourself in the beginning of the project if you had the experience you have now? Good question. What would be the advice I'd give myself? Try to get some help. Try to see if you can get people to help you with it. Essentially, that would be a good one to do. Right, let's go to UI, menus, lobby, all sets. Yeah, let's go with the icons. Why are they not being used? No, it should. No, I don't get it. Why is this not happening? The only thing I think of is it's because these I think are PSD files. Those little icons. I should be fine with it. It's appearing there, and it's appearing in there. Why the hell is that not doing that? I should also add this text stuff here. And I'm going to collapse this to a function, make it look a bit nicer. Set slot text, I'll call it. And I'm going to just do that right at the start as well. Construct. Set slot text. But why is it coming up with the images? I mean, it could well be that they are because they're PSDs files, not PNG. But they go off on. Just now cycle between all the values. Cool. Okay. You want to see? I can show you a design doc now if you want. It's not obviously finished because we're still making a game, but I can show you the design doc. As I said, design docs are live documents. They're not ever finished. You just keep working on them. Oh, probably. But oh God, what are we doing? We start off by outlining what our aims for the game are in terms of the game pillars. What kind of personality do you want the game to have? What kind of behaviour do we want from the players? What kind of things we'd like want to happen? And then talk about the different systems, player mechanics, Android mechanics, mimic mechanics, menus and how they work, matchmaking, how that should work, the custom game rule sets, so the things we're doing right now, they're on here. Twitch integration, how scoring will work, because you get score at the end of the match, how the user interface, how that all works, the map, the narrative, there is a narrative to it, the map, and all the things that are unique to the map, like the Android and different mechanics to deal with, the different rooms, and so on. Yeah. Dante, for adding voice acting to your projects, what's a good, cheap enough one-time payment option? Could you use Audacity or the likes of iClone to change your voice with for the British accents which I need? Okay, so here's my top tip. Go to approach a drama school or college or university with a drama program and say what you're doing and that you're looking for students who are eager to get some work experience on working on a game and get them to help you out. Not all of them are good, but you'll get some help. We've got it with this game. We've had some students help out with some things. And some of it's been like really, really good. So that's a good, cheap way of doing it. But we use Audacity to record audio, and we get them to record their own audio and try out different things. We just give them a script and what we want them to, how we want them to say it. But yeah, that's the game design doc. Need to update it a bit more, but yeah. So I'm going to test the theory to see if this is just because they're PSD files. So I'm going to go and open, show, open source location. And okay, and that's that one. So I'm going to open it in Photoshop and see if we can get that in there. But alongside the design document, we've also got the pitch deck, and we've also got a business plan deck All of this is going to be shown through our documentary series that we're going to put together. I've scripted like the first 8 episodes of it, which details like the features of the game and also the road to its release. So, talking about approaching publishers, networking, getting the game in front of people, getting their feedback, taking it to shows, those sorts of things up until and through release. So let's just test my theory out. M Gaming, how can you set up a copyright for your game projects? Because I've been trying to figure this out for months. So with copyright, everything is copyrighted as soon as you make it. Okay, so if you make something, it's copyrighted. Now you can pay for a service, which will get a certificate of authentication to prove that you were done it at this certain date and time. But essentially, once you've made it and you've got evidence of you making it, it's copyrighted. Trademarking is something different. Intellectual property is something different. But copyright, yeah, anything you make is copyrighted straight away. Okay, sorry, yeah, let me export this. I'm just going to chuck this onto my desktop for now. And okay, there. So re-import a new file. Desktop. Right, let's see if that has worked now with that. No, it just doesn't want to show it. Right, what's going on then? What have I missed? Oh. It's there. I don't get it. It's there. Then on construct. Oh, it's because the modifier struct is messing with it. It's because we got this crap. Hold on. We actually don't want this stuff anymore. That's from the old. Well, I duplicated it from. That's fine. I didn't actually do that then. Okay, right. That should now work. There we go. So you can turn them off and on as we do that. We'll also change the slots appearance with the border. So as we hover and unhover, we're going to take the border, box selection, set visibility. Put that on both. And when it is unhovered, we're going to make that hidden. And when it is hovered, we're going to change it to non-hit testable self and all children. Oh, not self and all children, just self only, sorry. I don't want the box to count as a click. I don't want it to absorb the click. I want the button to absorb the click. So it shouldn't cause any issues, but just in case, we'll stop that from happening. So we're just going to not hit testable, make it visible, but not interactive in any kind of way. And by default, I want that to be that setting. So let's go to down here. Not testable, self only. Okay. Silly question. What's your zodiac? Aries. My zodiac is Libra. Oh. Yeah, I know why. It's because it's, yeah, see me. Whoops. My problem is I'm hiding the border, but everything's inside of the border, so when it hides it, it's all going to go, which I don't want. So I'm going to change the box selection to go into the overlay. Oh. Okay, I just, God's sake. Wrap that with an overlay. There we go. Box selection. Well, now scale. There we go. So now it's separated. It's off on its own. And we'll set that to be by default hidden. There you go. And I hover and it will select which one I'm hovering. And I click on it and it will change these values as I click. And I probably want some sort of feedback to the player as well to indicate that they've clicked on it. So sound, obviously, yeah. But let's do a little bit of animation to this as well. So I'm going to go to the rule option. And we're going to go animation clicked. And just draw some attention to the text changing. So I'm going to add a track for the text value. And we're going to change the transform. I'm going to change the render size of it, so the scale of it. So add a key for that. Move it a little bit along. Scale it in the X by 1.5. And in the Y by 1.5. And then move it along again and set back down to, just turn auto key on, to 0, 0. Oh, not 0, 0, sorry, 1. There you go. So we get a punchy little click. Down to there. Okay. Right, that's that bit. So when that changes, it does that. Other things we can... Oh, my cat just jumped across the table. Other things we can do is probably change and flash the border, maybe. So we're going to add the border to our tracks down here. We'll change the brush color. And by default, it's set to... Oh my god, this cat. Just get out. Right, brush color is currently set to black. And then I'm going to make it... get to the max size there, flash to white. And then drag it out a little bit longer actually and set, let me just go in, delete these keys, I don't want these ones. Yeah. Cool. And we go a little bit more on the button. They've actually got the clicking style as well already on here. So if I go to pressed, oh, actually I'll just do the whole thing. It's going to be easier. So we go to the root, clicked this, add track, transform. Actually, I won't transform, I'll just transform the button graphic, I think. Because I don't want the selection border to change either, do I? So add image icon, add transform. Start, the scale is set to what it is, 1, 1. Go to there, 1.3, 1.3. 1.1, 1.1. I've always find that with UI and widgets, its subtlety is key. So smaller numbers tend to work out a bit nicer. So let's bring that back down. Oh, no. So the final clip looks like this. Okay. So we just need to put that into the graph here. So when I click over here, we're going to take out that animation and play it forward. Okay. And let's have a look at this. So hit 2 and number changes, on off changes, and we've got this nice little feedback, tactile feedback on different icons and what they mean. Cool. Not too bad. So let's just add a little click on sound onto that, and then we call it a day. So back to designer. And for this I'm just going to use the buttons built-in one. So I go to the button, style, pressed sound, and I forgot what our one we're using. Let's just go back to the UI. Button menu option. Whoops. Button. I ain't got it on that one. I should have. It should be. Ah, screw it. Just find it in here. Press. Click. Oh, that's not what we want. That's just button clicks. Oh wait, did I move it into the audio? What am I doing in here? No, I don't think I have. Oh wait, UI sounds. Oh, there we go. There we go. Cool. Okay, so that's how I'm thinking of presenting the rule sets to the player, so they can quickly like edit the rule sets before the match starts. But with the icons being present, it means that when we do the events and show the icons there, players get an immediate understanding of what is going to happen with their game or how it's going to affect their game without having to be able to read, which helps with accessibility because it means, like, localization wise, icons are universal. I don't have to worry about localizing to different languages necessarily and making it make sense for everyone. So even if the game isn't translated to your home language, you should be able to still recognize, understand what the icons do. Okay. Cool. Yes, so there's plenty more coming soon with Mick. We are going to do another beta test very, very soon with the latest build. Once that's done and we're happy with the performance of it, I'm going to be opening up to more people on Patreon to help test it and get some feedback on what we can improve and how we can make it more fun. If you want to be part of that, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where you can support the channel. Not only get a chance of joining the beta, but also access to all our video content early. This week is got the return of the action RPG videos. Got a couple of those coming out this week. Plus more karting, plus more everything else. Yeah, coming down here too. But that's it. I'm going to go to bed because I'm knackered. So, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And I'll see you next time on our Question Time live stream this Wednesday. Good night, everyone.